Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Year 3 of the Josh Heupel era is underway. Tennessee gets the win last night, 49-13 over Virginia. Got to be happy with the defensive side of the ball, holding Virginia right around 200 yards of total offense. And then also offensively, Tennessee comes out right out of the gate, scores on the opening drive. You're thinking, all right, here we go. We're off to the races. But then the offense kind of sputtered a little bit early in the game. Scored on the last two possessions going into the locker room, 21-3, and then Tennessee kind of took over that second half. Really, really good day for Tennessee. Look, I get it. It's Virginia, but you still went out and you did what you were supposed to do. Some people out there have some opinions. They have some feelings on Joe Milton. I'm going to tell you why they are wrong. This is the day after. We've had a chance to sleep on it, put some thoughts together, and talk about week 1 for Tennessee football. But as always, do me a favor, smash the thumbs up just below the video. It's quick, free, and easy. It helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't pretend to be media. We're not talking at you. We're talking with you here on this channel. It is for the fans, by the fans. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe, click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Tonight is your night. It's where you, the audience, get a voice. You get to come on the channel, fan call-in show. You get to hang out, talk some Tennessee football live tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. If you're not a member, make sure you hit that join button down below. The more you give, the quicker you get on the show. But again, we'll be live tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Let's talk about this Tennessee versus Virginia game. You know, going into it all week long, we've been talking about how this Virginia offense just wasn't very good. So take it for what it's worth. But how many times throughout the last several years, Jeremy Pruitt, Butch Jones, Derek Dooley, Tennessee football would go out and play a team like an App State, or they would play an Air Force, or they would play a Ball State, Bowling Green, insert the team name here, and they would struggle. We would talk about how bad this team was offensively, and then Tennessee would go in and give up 21-28. We would be in a nail biter. So I get it. I understand Virginia's not very good. So what do you want to see from Tennessee's defense against an offense that's not very good? You want to see domination. Tennessee held Virginia to 201 yards of total offense, 96 yards on the ground on 40 attempts. That is 2.4 yards per carry. Look, Tennessee's defensive line played on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage all night long. 10 tackles for loss. And, you know, even we talk about the guys like Tyler Barron, ended up with 2 sacks. James Pierce, 2 sacks. Really good football games. But also guys like Roman Harrison. Roman Harrison was in the backfield a lot yesterday afternoon. Omar Norman Lott, Omari Thomas. If you run down the stat sheet, a lot of tackles for loss, a lot of assisted tackles, gang tackles, just an orange swarm waving, flying to the ball, making plays. Linebackers I also thought played pretty solid. Aaron Beasley, Keenan Peely, when they're out there on the football field, I feel confident in this Tennessee defense. You also need to credit young sophomore linebacker Elijah Herring. I thought he played pretty well. Actually led this football team with tackles yesterday afternoon, had a half of a tackle for loss as well. Again, getting there in a group. I know the orange swarm was a Butch Jones saying, but I like the way they swarmed to the football yesterday. The secondary, you know, we're not really talking about the secondary. Why is that? Because they didn't really give up any big plays. They only gave up 2 plays of 20 yards or more as a football team. So you didn't really see the secondary getting picked on much. Kamal Hadden had a couple of nice pass breakups. We talked last night on the post-game show. Really wish Kamal Hadden would turn his head around and get his eyes on the football. Still made a couple of nice plays. We'll see how this secondary continues to develop as we move forward. Couple of stupid mistakes yesterday, right? There's a couple of things that this football team did that I did not like. You can talk about special teams. You had 2 kickoffs that went out of bounds. Jackson Ross, we've heard all fall camp, we've heard all along how good he was going to be and how he was a secret weapon, right? Back in the spring game, everybody said Jackson Ross doesn't look very good. He was punting traditionally. So, right, he's the secret weapon, rugby style. He can kick with his right foot, his left foot, what he does. He's going to be a weapon for this football team. He struggled yesterday. I need to see Jackson Ross come on and pick it up. He had a 16-yard shank. He did have a nice punt that could have been downed inside the 1, but again, the coverage team did not get the ball. It ended up downing it inside the end zone, gives up a touchback. So that's not on him, but that's on the special teams unit. D. Williams had the fumbled punt. That's crucial, man. That's crucial. And I get it. D. Williams bounced back, right? Had a nice 54-yard return. Also had a 31-yard return in the fourth quarter. And the phrase that was used last night was D. Williams made up for it, right? He made up for the fumble. Did he? Because fumbling the football when you've had a chance to flip the field like Tennessee did in that situation, nobody hurt in the Virginia game. Nobody hurt. But in a game against Georgia, a game against Alabama, that's the type of stuff that can cost you a football game. But again, just some mistakes that they need to clean up on special teams. How about this running back room? How about this running back? Just absolute. I don't care who you want to roll with. You can talk about Jalen Wright, Jabari Small, Dylan Sampson, all three really good running backs. Everybody kind of coming out of this thing talking about Dylan Sampson because he had the 3 touchdowns on the ground, also added a touchdown reception on the nice little swing pass there on the first drive. But let's be honest, Jalen Wright is the workhorse. Jalen Wright is the best running back on this football team. He runs hard. He runs physical. He gets north and south in a hurry. You know, one criticisms I saw some of you guys with Jabari Small, he spends too much time dancing around in the hole. Get north and south, get there in a hurry. And that's what we saw with Jalen Wright. But we also saw patience when he needed to be patient, allow blocks to set up. He was really good running the football yesterday. If you look at the stat sheet, Jalen Wright, 12 carries, 115 yards, averaged 9.6 yards per carry, almost 10 yards per carry. I would feed Jalen Wright the rock. Jalen Wright would be the first running back out there on the football field for me every single Saturday. Jabari Small also added 13 carries for 67 yards, averaged 5.2 yards per carry. Dylan Sampson, 13 carries, 52 yards, 4 yards per carry and 3 touchdowns. Again, everybody kind of talking about Dylan Sampson for what he did putting the football in the end zone. I said yesterday on the live stream, that's the guy you want on your football team for the fantasy points, right? But there's just a really good running back room top to bottom. So if you argue you want Jabari Small running back 1, you want Dylan Sampson, I don't care. They said on the broadcast they want to split up the carries. 40% Jabari Small, 40% Jalen Wright, 20% Dylan Sampson. It's a good problem to have, right? You keep that fresh running back out there on the football field. Now, let's talk about the hot topic. Let's talk about Joe Milton, because the question has been, which Joe are we going to get? Are we going to get Joe Milton from Bowling Green? Or are we going to get Joe Milton from the Orange Bowl? But first, let's take a listen to what Josh Heupel had to say about how he thought his quarterback played in Week 1 against Virginia.
I thought command was really solid. I thought he did a good job in the pocket. He escaped at times when needed. I thought his run reads were really pretty solid. There were a couple throws that, he would want back, not far off. Ramel's running right down the middle of the football field, and we're just a little bit off. And that's where I just felt like early in the ball game, we weren't completely settled in. But at the end of the day, this game's not going to be perfect in any phase of the game. It's how you continue to respond and handle yourselves. I thought they continued to compete, finished the first half the right way, and came out and started fast in the second.
I think the point I like there from Josh Heupel, this game is never going to be perfect. People forget about the mistakes that Hendon Hooker made. People forget about the mistakes Josh Dobbs, Peyton Manning, T. Martin made. But for some reason, with Joe Milton, people are so critical. They are so critical anytime Joe Milton makes a mistake. Let's share the screen here, and let's get his stats up here on the screen. And let's talk about Joe Milton. And I know I'm talking about the vocal minority, the criticism of Joe Milton. Don't get on social media during a Tennessee football game, because it is a nightmare. The hate on this kid early in the game, as if he was just absolutely horrendous throwing the football. You see the line there, 21 of 30, 201 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, also added 2 touchdowns on the ground. I think Joe Milton, what he did running the football was very efficient. I thought he had a better pocket awareness in this game. He went through his reads. He made good decisions. I think he made a couple of mistakes, and that's fine. It's never going to be perfect. Josh Heupel just said it. But I think we've got to grade Joe Milton on the here and now. It doesn't matter what he did in previous years. So his completion percentage coming out of Week 1 is around 70%. Do you want to go look at the NCAA all-time leaders for completion percentage? People talking about accuracy. Joe struggled with accuracy, didn't complete enough passes for me. You're not happy. You're not upset. You're upset with Joe Milton. All-time leading completion percentage for NCAA, Will Rogers from 2020 to 2023, 70.7%. Colt Brennan, 70.4%. Colt McCoy, 70.3%. Kellen Moore, 69.8%. Do you see a rhythm here? Do you see a pattern here? Right where Joe finished is where the NCAA all-time leaders are at. So you say, well, Boogie, that's not his all-time. There's a difference between all-time. There's a difference between doing it for 3 years. I agree. There is. But all I'm going to grade Joe on is the here and now, because that's all that matters. I don't care what Joe Milton did when he first arrived on campus. He was here for 3 months and went out there and tried to play football. I'm grading Joe Milton as a grown man, as a fifth-year senior going into year 3 of the Josh Heupel era. Game 1, 21 of 30, 201 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And you can talk about the misses, right? When you look at Joe Milton's game yesterday, he really only had one bad series. One bad series. 4th drive of the game, they kind of opened up. Jabari Small running the football, had a couple of rushes. Tennessee's got a 1st and 10. Milton throws low to Squirrel White. 2nd and 10. He throws high to Brew McCoy. 3rd and 10. He overthrows Ramel Keaton. But what I like about this is Joe bounced back the very next drive. Had a deep ball to Ramel Keaton where he put a little bit of air under it. Had a great throw into the end zone to Brew McCoy. Coach Jay said it last night. That's an NFL-level throw right where it needs to be, where only Brew McCoy can make a play. Great catch. Half of his foot's out of bounds, but that's a great throw. He bounced back. That's what I like about Joe Milton in that football game yesterday. But also, I thought he played a really good game. You know, he had the deep ball dropped by Ramel Keaton, and not to keep putting Ramel Keaton on blast. It happens. Look, put it behind you, move forward, get better, and keep playing football. But if you look at that pass, Ramel Keaton hauls that in. All of a sudden, you're talking about Joe Milton having closer to 300 yards versus 200 yards. Then are you as critical? Are you as upset? And again, if you're in agreement with me, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to probably a vocal minority of people that need to be educated, and they need to understand that Joe Milton went out and played a pretty damn good football game yesterday. And I think you need to understand that and look at the potential that this football team has moving forward. And I get it. It's Virginia. We've said that all week long. But top to bottom, I feel like Joe managed the game well, played well. I thought he made good reads. He went through his progressions. You could see that. He checked down when he needed to check down, had a couple of bad throws. Nobody's ever going to be perfect, but Joe Milton looked better in 2023 than he did in 2021, and that's all I'm going to talk about. You guys jump into the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think week 1 versus Virginia? They say you make the biggest steps between week 1 and week 2. Tennessee's got a glorified scrimmage coming up on Saturday against Austin Peay, and then it's time to get ready for the Gators in the Swamp. But I want you guys to jump in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. As always, make sure you smash the thumbs up on the way out the door, and go check out the merch. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. We appreciate everybody picking up that merch. If you wear that merch to the game, or you're out hanging out with your boys watching the game, tag me up on Twitter at Boogie Bentley. I would love to see you guys repping Talkin VAWLS. Also, make sure you get those memberships in. Hit that join button down below. Even if you don't want to come on the fan call-in show, if you just enjoy the content, the videos, the live streams, whatever it is you like about this channel, hit that join button. It's as little as $1 a month. You get custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. You get a power T beside your name in the chat. I try to highlight the comments in the live streams. But it also just supports what we are trying to build here on the Talkin VAWLS network. For the fans, by the fans, we're the alternative. Appreciate the way you guys tune in and support this channel. But that is going to do it for this one. We will be back right here tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. But this is the Talkin VAWLS network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.